Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great new year. Um, hmm. I have a bit of a allergy cold thing. Everybody around here has something going on. So please excuse my stuffy head. Uh, Going through this holiday season has been kind of like pulling a ton of bricks behind me. Oh my gosh. And happily, I cut those bricks loose and I feel fabulous. I was watching some of the videos. I haven't been watching all of them. And Maria's video about, I was just wondering, how can it get better than this? Oh, thank you, Maria. I love that. I sing songs about it. I have a blast with it, and it feels good. I really appreciate that. That gift. Namaste, friend. Namaste. And everybody's videos, you guys are all talking about all this boy-girl stuff. You know, which I don't think about boy-girl stuff much anymore. I was just dealing with some pretty heavy stuff, boy-girlish, with my husband. And I actually just settled it. Yeah, it was like an ongoing thing for years. Him and I. This one kind of thing that we just couldn't settle on. And finally I realized that I couldn't change his thought on it. I couldn't change him. And to me, to keep fighting with him, expecting him to change it, I don't know what was wrong with me. I can't control him any more than I could control my father, my brother, my mother, anybody, the cat. I can't even control the cat. I can't even control myself. But boy-girl stuff. You know, I'm 47 years old. I was born in 1970. My parents were teenagers, and it was a big family. The very male-dominated. Male-dominated. The women are fabulous, strong, awesome women that could really stand with very, very strong men. There was a lot of brawling. Not for me. I was not physically abused or sexually abused as a child. I was mentally abused. Yeah. There's so much different abuse. But anyways, blah, blah, blah. It was all for a reason, so I could be so fabulous today. You know, it all adds to who I am. I just didn't get stuck in it. Sorry, off track again as usual. Boy-girl stuff. Okay, skip ahead. Male-dominated family. Women were meant to work. We were the workhorses of the family on the farm. The men sat in the chair and told us what to do, and would give us a task. Say, go hoe the garden. Get all the weeds out of the strawberry patch. And would go out there and stand and tell you were doing it wrong the whole time, and still expect you to do it. And that was a lot of pressure for children. You're doing it wrong, but keep doing it. I'm going to keep yelling at you. I want you to keep doing it. You know, it's just like... Anyways, it was a very male-dominated society, very male-dominated world, as far as my eyes were concerned growing up. Also, I had to survive. I had to survive it. I was also a larger child. So the boys would be so much smaller than me. I was treated very much like a boy. I was very tomboyish. I just wanted to play and have fun and go outside. And mostly it was boys. I did not have girls around me to play with. I had cousins that were girls, but they didn't want to play with me. The boys would want to play with me. And we would they didn't even treat me much like a girl. They treated me like a boy. All my cousins and my friends. Mostly cousins, because they had to like me. Anyway, so I grew up that way, so I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid to haul hay. I wasn't afraid to get out there and chop wood and haul wood and do all the work. I could set up camp. I was the one in charge of the fire. I was in charge of so much. I was given a lot of responsibility as a young child, and it wasn't they would talk about, well, you're a girl, so you can't do this. And, that was the male dominated. They were always mentally putting us women down. But we did it all, and I noticed that. I noticed that we were doing all the work. They were just sitting there telling us that we were less than. And I realized this very young, so that made me very annoying to most men growing up, and to a lot of women. Because I would question it. Well, why? And also, I got married when I was very young, and I didn't have a baby, though, until like 4 years later. I got married at 16 just because I wanted to leave my house. You know how it is. And I was in charge of my own life. I had been for a very long time. But society told me because I was too young, I wasn't allowed to make my own decisions. So as my first opportunity, I went for it. But anyways, and then I had a baby when I was 19, 20, I had a son. But then my husband and I broke up, so I was a single mother. And I paid for everything. I didn't need anything from anybody. Very self-sufficient, which made me feel lonely emotionally. But it wasn't worth the trouble. It wasn't worth the trouble that men caused me. I don't know, on purpose or whatever. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all so long ago, But it was boy-girl stuff. Anyways. Excuse me. I had to take a lot of male-dominated jobs. I didn't think of them because I'd always worked. Hard worked. I mean, I was like a mule. My parents treated me like a mule. So, construction work. I was an iron worker at the age of 20. I was 20 years old when I went on my first construction job. It was a Chevron plant in Baytown, Texas. And I was awesome at it. Awesome at it. I did so many things. I worked 10 years off and on jobs. You go in and work them, you go out. And the men on those jobs treated me nice. They treated me like a sister. But when I would work in office spaces or retail, the men I worked with were very, very sexually ridiculous. And I'm just a single mama working. I don't want to mess with you. I don't want anything you. I'm going to go home and work when I get home, taking care of family, my children, my house, all the things that I have to take care of before I get up tomorrow and I do it all again. And there have been men who have made ridiculous advances at me. But being in the culture I am, I knew that, number one, I have to take care of it myself. There's nobody I can complain to. I was taught to take care of things myself. Now, I worked for this man for years, and he had a nephew. I worked with him for a while in a little shop in the back. Well, one day he got too friendly. This is just one story, you guys. There's so many. But who wants to hear all this shit? And I was standing at a workbench, and I was repairing copy machines. Anyways, copy machine cartridges, I refurbished them. I've done so many weird things. Anyways, I'm just standing there doing that. So I'm looking down on my desk, my hips are up against the workbench, and I'm working. This guy comes up behind me, he's behind me, he puts one hand on the table on this side, and when that other hand came down on this side, and I felt his on my back, I said, hi, I don't remember his name. And I had to I worked in the front and the back. I had to be a secretary and answer the phones also, because I'm a girl. But I don't care. I just wanted to get paid. So I'll fix cartridges. I'll muck out barns. I'll answer phones. I'll serve coffee. Whatever. Anyways, but he did this. And I have a move that I like to use. There's a 3-move thing to it. You bring your right foot up, ladies, and you hit the top of that man's foot as hard as you can with the heel of your foot. He will probably stop right there. So, knee up, get the foot down, force the heel right into the top of the foot. And then the knee goes right up into the groin. And this part of your hand this part of the man's nose. Up, up. You push, and it'll make their eyes water and their nose bleed. And they'll be so embarrassed. They won't touch you again. And it sucks that I have to have advice like this. It sucks that I had to teach my daughters this. But I just did. I'm not aggressive, but I've been pushed. And it's always been men. I just thought of 6 other stories as I was telling you guys this story. Anyways, but he was behind me, so I had to make my moves a little better. So I took the heel of my foot and I went down, and then the elbow was going to go back into him like this, up into the ribs. If you're shorter, it actually works a lot better. Just up. Anyways, I got the heel down. I got the elbow halfway up. I stopped because he was crying, and not the sad kind. And I said, "How are you doing today?" And he said, "I'm doing fine." And he walked away. And he never bothered me again. But I had to put up with stuff like that when I was in school. I got on the school bus. It was my first day of school. It was in the 9th grade. I was in North Carolina. There was 2 little boys on the school bus, and they were smaller boys, but still in 8th graders or whatever. I don't know. I was a 9th grader. And nobody's on the bus but these 2 boys, and for some reason they let me out early to find my bus. Whatever. I walk on the bus. This little boy, I'm in the 9th grade, he's in the 8th grade, so we were both little then. He took his hand and he pinched me up between my legs. Nobody had ever done any such thing to me before. I'd never put up with such stuff. Like I said, I was very boyish. I don't know how to say it. And as soon as he did that, I go to black. I don't know what I do. I only know what happens afterwards. I had taken this kid. I had shoved him under the bus, and I was repeatedly kicking him with my pointy shoes. And the bus driver, who was a high school student there, it was like a co-op thing, high school student drove the bus. He had to pull me off of this kid. They did not report me. They did not report me. This kid was so embarrassed. Because they didn't want to know the story. And even if they had, nobody would have believed me. And that's the truth. And that's how it always was. And there's so many other stories. But this video is running really long. Anyways, I love everyone. And I forgive every one of them. It was just an experience. It's an adventure. It's not a tag on me. I was sexually annoyed. I was raped. I don't even tell anybody. Nobody even knows. I had a husband who kept me prisoner and raped me every night for 1.5 years while I was pregnant. I thought it then was the lowest part of my life, and I didn't know how to get out of it. And one day, finally, I stood up for myself, and I had enough. But I thank him. I didn't then. It's been a long time ago, but now it's just an experience. Like, yeah, I did that. I survived that. I'm not inviting that in anymore. I don't need that shit. Nobody does. But society has not exactly been the friend of the woman. And yeah, women, I've seen some terrible, ridiculous ways they treat men and go, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" It's every way. That's why I don't even know why this boy-girl thing is a topic. But I've had 5 husbands. I had 4, and then for a long time I didn't have one. I kept him, the one that raped me every night. I didn't. He just left. He went somewhere else. But he stayed my husband forever just so I couldn't have another one. I was over, man. It doesn't mean that I was like wanting anything else. I was just over it. Anyways, I love us all so much. I'm not sure if this video is going to make it. Namaste.